Hello and welcome to Green Signal. This is Govind Krishna, and in the next 30 minutes I'm going to take you to a ride with the cars and bikes of this week. Some 32 years back, Datsun just vanished. Now after 32 years of void, Nissan is bringing back the Datsun to India. We Indians should feel proud because in this country where Datsun will be launched, and the name of the car, the first Datsun, which is an entry-level hatchback, is Go. Now this name is actually a bit offbeat, but that was the first car that was launched in Japan in 1914. So does other car manufacturers need to worry about this new practical hatchback from Nissan, entry-level hatchback from Nissan? Let's check out. Now speaking about the exteriors of Datsun Go, the car's design looks upmarket and fresh considering the other competing hatchbacks in this segment. Now the design language is very sharp and it's based on the Nissan's Micra V platform. Now there is the most good looking part about Datsun is the front diamond shaped grille. Now what's unusual is the single wiper. The Datsun Go looks upmarket and fresh considering the targeted entry-level hatchback segment. Nothing is quirky in its design language and it looks well balanced from every angle. The Go looks sizable based on the Nissan Micra's V platform. The front end is sharp and broad, where the most attractive bit is the diamond-shaped Datsun grille. Every element in the front, such as the bonnet lines, big headlamps and heavily sculpted bumper, is pointing towards the large grille. The only plaque in the teeth of the Go's front styling is the unusual single wiper. The side profile is neat, where the shoulder line and lower crease run smoothly across the body. The shoulder line merges with a power bulge at the rear door that continues to the tail and gives the Go a good presence. The blacked out B-pillars reflect a good contrast with the body, but the big wheel arches and small 13-inch tires looks wacky from the side. The rear of the Datsun Go is tastefully done as well, having an angular rear windshield with squarish tail lamp cluster and chunky bumper. Nissan has emphasis on the Datsun logo at the tailgate sitting on a bulge. The matured exteriors, the interiors didn't fascinate me much because maybe it's because of the comparison. The interiors is practical, everything, the fit and finish and everything is good, and interior is also dual tone with beige and black color. The steering is 3-spoke and there is an amazing charging dock for smartphones in the car. But apart from all those things, maybe it didn't fascinate much or it didn't gather a lot of interest, but still that's very common in a car of this segment. The light color tones are used well though, giving a sense of good space. The seat fabric includes jacquard finish on the top of the line variant, while others have plain finish. The dashboard uses dual-tone beige color with a black central console. The steering wheel feels good to hold, which is a 3-spoke unit with a big horn pad. The horn has a monotone. The instrument cluster is simple and easy to read, which has a gear shift guide on the speedometer. There is a small LCD digital screen below the speedometer that displays tachometer, fuel level, instantaneous fuel consumption, average fuel efficiency, trip computer and distance to empty. The controls and stacks are derived from the Nissan Micra that feel good to use and provide tactile feedback. The air conditioning is quite effective and those Micra-inspired circular vents are convenient to use with good airthrow. The inside rear view mirrors as well as outside mirrors have good visibility, but the sad thing is the ORVMs are manually adjustable without stocks. Power windows are provided only at the front and the driver doesn't have the additional switch to control the passenger side window. The overall quality feels good and sturdy. Nissan believes that there is a huge growth in smartphone ownership in India, and that's a fact. Keeping that in mind, they have offered a convenient docking system with 2 front speakers which have average sound quality. The system includes a docking unit for your phone, aux input for audio and USB port for charging your phone along with power button and volume control. There is a 12-volt accessory socket as well provided below the AC controls. So if you have a smartphone with internet connection, you can play music, access navigation, attend call hands-free, etc. on the go. In order to maximize space inside the cabin, Datsun has provided a dashboard-mounted gear lever and handbrake lever. The gear lever is placed at a convenient place, but the handbrake lever gets fidgety and falls with a tall driver's knee. There are many storage zones at the front and none at the back. The door pockets can hold 1.5 liters of bottles, and then there is some space under the steering wheel for mobile phones, parking tickets, coins and so forth. The glove box is deep and can accommodate many things, but it's open and there is no lid provided to keep things safe. There is a small pit on top of the dash too, where you can keep knickknacks. There are no ceiling mounted grab handles at the front, they are only provided for rear passengers. .2-liter 3-cylinder petrol engine that's derived from the Nissan Micra, but it's detuned to produce 68 PS of power at 5000 rpm and 104 Nm of torque at 4000 rpm. Now the weight of Datsun Go is just 768 kg, and at that weight the car is very pepe. The Go is light, weighing 769 kg and produces relatively high performance figures compared to its rivals. This recipe makes the performance peppy and fairly quick. Remember the rapid initial acceleration of the Maruti 800? Same is the case with the Go, but in a much smoother and refined manner that stretches up to the northern side of the mid-range. The Datsun Go can do 0 to 100 km per hour sprint in just 14 seconds, which is remarkable. The Datsun Go returns an ARAI claimed fuel mileage of 20.6 km per liter, but in real-world conditions expect to be around 15 km per liter ballpark. The Datsun Go is based on the Nissan Micra's V platform, which is known for good handling and ride. The ride quality is amazing and unbeatable by the rivals. It feels a few segments above its class. The long travel of the suspension and linear damper makes the ride flat in most conditions, but on really bad roads the suspension gives that thumping feeling. Now because of the long suspension travel and small tires, the body roll is pronounced, otherwise the handling is good and it responds well. The electronic power steering has torque sensing motor and it's speed sensitive, so the feedback is linear. The Datsun Go doesn't come with ABS and airbags, not even as an option on the range topping trim. This comes as a surprise considering the fact that the Nissan is offering the Micra with driver airbag as a standard across all variants. Even the Micra Active XVS comes with a driver and passenger airbag along with ABS, EBD and BA. After the global NCAP tests of some Indian cars, the awareness of safety aspect on cars is growing amongst Indian buyers. Nissan should consider offering ABS and at least a driver side airbag as an option, if not standard equipment, on the Datsun Go in the near future. Now, Datsun Go is aimed at the target group of first-time car buyers in India, and if you are one among them, you'll notice that all the boxes of your checklist will be ticked with the Datsun Go. Nissan's new entry-level hatchback is big in size and has smart styling cues that will make you give it a second glance after parking it. It has ample amount of space to accommodate 5 people and good load of luggage with ease. The Go offers some smart features while keeping the cost on check. The frugal yet powerful engine along with the mature suspension setup makes driving easy and comfortable in city as well as highways. Yes, cost cutting is evident and it lacks the necessary safety features, but at the end of the day, it's offering huge bang for your buck and is a tough nut to crack in this segment.
Royal Enfield as the makers of cruiser bikes, but if you just go back, if you ride back to the past, you'll notice that Royal Enfield was actually the makers of cafe racers. The first cafe racer was born from Royal Enfield's factory in 1960, and by 1965 the Continental GT was born. By 1985 the cafe racers were no longer in demand. In 2010 Royal Enfield again showcased their concept cafe racer, the Continental GT, and just by 2 years later the Continental GT is launched. If you speak about the design of the cafe racer, the Continental GT, I would say that Royal Enfield is spot on with the designing. The cafe racer Continental GT is definitely an attention grabber. They have gone, the company Royal Enfield has gone to the retro styling of Continental GT. It's a classic looking bike, and if you see it parked anywhere, you'll definitely have a look at it again and again.
Royal Enfield has got the styling of the Continental GT spot on. When viewed in person, it looks the part and is quite an attention grabber. The company has remained true to the original cafe racer, and the modern ensemble flaunts the retro design elements proudly. The long tang alloy spoke wheels, humpback racing seats, and a sensation that the motorcycle has gone on a diet is immediately apparent. Fit and finish levels are very good too, and it's only when you observe very carefully do you find some rough edges. Paint quality is excellent, and the Continental GT comes out of a new factory which has a modern paint shop which shows on the GT. The Royal Enfield Continental GT gets a twin port cluster with the left side housing the speedometer, marked both in kilometers per hour and miles per hour, and a small LCD screen with a digital display showcasing twin trip meters, odometer and fuel level. The right port is the tachometer, and both the ports get a chunky chrome surround. The switch gear is familiar to other Royal Enfield bikes and feels good to operate. The mirrors have titanium dioxide coating on them, but since it's mandatory to have a rear view mirrors with an 80mm circular design, these are not standard. The optional mirrors cost Rs 4000, and the pillion seat is also optional, which comes with pillion foot pegs. The Continental GT is registered and homologated as a single-seater.
Enfield claims that the Continental GT is the fastest, lightest and the most powerful bike from their stable yet. Now powering this is the engine that's doing its duty in the Thunderbird 500 and the Classic 500, but here the engine capacity has been increased to 535cc and it displays a power of 29.1 PS at 5100 rpm. Yes, 5100 rpm and 44 Nm of torque at 4000 rpm.
Royal Enfield claims the Continental GT is the fastest, lightest and most powerful motorcycle from their stable. Powering the flagship thumper is the same old engine which does duty in the Classic 500 and Thunderbird 500, but this one has been given increased capacity at 535cc with a bore-up and ECU remap. The increase in displacement has also seen an increase in output, which now reaches 29.1 bhp of power at 5100 rpm and 44 Nm of torque at 4000 rpm. So the Continental GT isn't very powerful considering the cubic capacity of the motor. It weighs a full 184 kg, so it isn't very light either. Fastest Royal Enfield definitely, but not a very fast bike per se. However, Royal Enfield will offer performance parts for those who want more juice out of their cafe racer. The Royal Enfield Continental GT reaches 100 km per hour in third gear and you can cruise comfortably at that speed in fifth gear with the tacho needle hovering around at 3500 rpm. The Continental GT reaches 120 km per hour easily and when pushed hard should show 140 km per hour on the speedo easily. However, the incessant vibrations post 100 km per hour can be felt through the handles, tank, seat and foot pegs which hamper high-speed riding. The gearbox is average and there are many false neutrals, although the clutch is light and well weighed. The Continental GT gets clip-on handlebars and the seating position is by far the sportiest of any Royal Enfield bike, but the saddle is itself wide and the cushioning on the seats is on the softer side. The riding position isn't aggressive and all this makes riding the Continental GT for long durations an easy task. The foot pegs are a bit rear set but offers comfort. Armed with Brembo discs at the front and rear with steel braided lines, the Continental GT offers excellent stopping power and the braking performance benefits from the fantastic Pirelli rubber as well.
The Royal Enfield Continental GT is a very different kind of bike. It's not the kind of bike that you would see every day or you would ride every day. Now then again, a Royal Enfield is also like that. Now Royal Enfield claims, or it's even true, that it's the only one cafe racer that's available in the world right now. So if you want to go to that classic era of cafe racing, you should definitely think about getting a Royal Enfield Continental GT. Alright, so there we end this week's episode of Green Signal. That's all I have from our stable about cars and bikes. Next week, meet you, same time, same channel. Till then, adieu.